Kamala Harris went and talked to the president of Guatemala. She was at a sit-down with the president. Here it is.
Also long-standing issues that are often called the root causes of immigration. We are looking at the issue of poverty and the lack, therefore, of economic opportunities, the issue of extreme weather conditions and the lack of climate adaptation, as well as corruption and the lack of good governance, and violence against women, indigenous people, LGBTQ people, and Afro-descendants.
So anybody who knows their history will know that Guatemala was the site of a coup, a U.S.-backed coup that killed thousands, hundreds and thousands of indigenous people and Afro-descendants, as she says there, more commonly referred to as Garifuna. If you don't know much about it, it was in 1954. Here's the Wikipedia page. Guatemalan coup d'etat in 1954, codenamed Operation PB Success, was a covert operation carried out by the Central Intelligence Agency that deposed the democratically elected Guatemalan president Jacobo Arbenz and ended the Guatemalan Revolution of 1944 to 54. It installed the military dictatorship of Carlos Castillo Armas. Oh my God! He even rocked. Look at the mustache he rocked, guys. This is is a problematic dude. So counter-revolutionary right-wing forces work, obviously these are military coups we're talking about, but they work very closely with the police, departments. I'm actually reading, J. Andrew World is saying, don't forget how Reagan continued to do this. Absolutely. But this began in the 50s. Eisenhower, post-war, we were, having proxy wars across the world. Funding anti-communist right-wing, juntas and, generals. The CIA had, training, indoctrination programs, counterinsurgency programs, from people from South America, military, to Indonesia. I'm actually reading the Jakarta Method right now, which is terrifying. So the idea that Kamala Harris will mention everything under the sun, gang violence and political instability. Where did that come from? Climate change, like all these other issues, and give no credence to the fact. What does it remind us of? It reminds us of the famous Jen Psaki moment. Let's see. This was years ago when she was at the State Department. Yeah, here it is.
President Maduro last night went on the air and said that they'd arrested multiple people who were allegedly behind a coup that was backed by the United States. What is your response?
These latest accusations, like all previous such accusations, are ludicrous. As a matter of long-standing policy, the United States does not support political transitions by non-constitutional means. Political transitions must be democratic, constitutional, peaceful, and legal. We've seen many times that the Venezuelan government tries to distract from its own actions by blaming the United States or other members of the international community for events inside Venezuela. These efforts reflect a lack of seriousness on the part of the Venezuelan government to deal with the grave situation it faces.
The U.S. has whoa. The U.S. has a long-standing practice of not promoting. What did you say? How long-standing is that? I would, in particular,
in
South and Latin America.
Come on.
That is not a long-standing practice.
Well, my point here, Matt.
Ew. Okay, you see the way she smiles condescendingly? That's an old tactic of hers, I guess.
That is not a long-standing practice.
Blink.
Well, my point here, Matt, without getting into history, is that we do not support, we have no involvement with, and these are ludicrous accusations.
In this specific case.
Correct.
But if you go back not that long ago, during your lifetime, even. This is
the
not
last
that
21
long
years?
Well,
I'm young. That's insane. That's ridiculous. So, yeah, this is what centrist Democrats represent, is an alliance with American empire and let's make things better domestically so the poors don't eat us alive or guillotine us, right? Let's give them just enough crumbs to keep this system going, right? I mean, that's astounding, and the lies are astounding, but that's just what we're stuck with, people. That is the sad, weird, wild world we're all living in. It's morning in America, as Ronald Reagan would say. Let me get some comments in here. Let's see. Whoa, you guys are... Yep. Banana Land on YouTube, says Trev Flat 5. Banana Land starts about the time of the Spanish-American War. Great documentary. Okay, guys, check out Banana Land. J. Andrew World. Yoda, can you teach a cow to use a litter box? Manny Sadowski. Cow cafes like cat ones. Who doesn't want to cuddle a cow? Cows are cool, I guess. They're not as cool as cats. Let's be real. J. Andrew World. Obama cooed Honduras. Yeah, the Hillary Clinton in Honduras. This is very recent. This is just in world history, is just the other day, right? And what was the recent one? Also in Venezuela, failed Venezuelan coup under Trump. I mean, there were like goofy contractors who got totally just embarrassed. Let's see, and two former American soldiers were jailed, right? That was just last year, 2020. Venezuela, former American soldiers jailed over failed coup. Oh, geez. Yeah. Venezuelan court has sentenced two former American soldiers to 20 years in jail for trying to overthrow President Nicolas Maduro. Luke Denman and Iron Berry were found guilty of conspiracy, illicit trafficking of weapons, and terrorism. Pair were among 13 people arrested in May as they attempted to enter Venezuela by sea from Colombia. Attorney General William Saab said proceedings will continue against others accused of assisting the raid. Wow. So, yeah, Trump said, we didn't know anything about that. I have no idea. Let's see. They're former Special Forces soldiers who appeared in video shown on Venezuelan TV. Operation Gideon, it was called, a plot to kill Maduro. Now, guys, part of what the CIA's early success, when you read Jakarta Method, you find how the CIA in the beginning was very much like a comedy of errors. Like the very early, it was like the Office of Intelligence or whatever, OIS. I can't remember. And they, they were riddled with Soviet spies, and they just it was so obvious they were involved in Iran. And I believe Guatemala was one of them. And it wasn't really until Brazil in the early 60s that they were able to make it all happen without really, that obviously being their fingerprints on it, like American boots on the ground. It was mostly, there were some CIA, obviously, but it was mostly taken part by the right wing, the extreme right, and the military of Brazil. And so they had success with that. And so this, I just got to say, under the Donald Trump CIA, the South American coup people, they're not sending their best. They're really not. That was a low-energy coup, guys. I mean, there was only 2 Americans involved, and it was just a small kind of ragtag group of people. I mean, usually the CIA organizes a much more powerful right-wing, anti-communist right-wing in a country. And it's incredible to see, not just the suppression of the left in the United States by intelligence agencies and the FBI and police agencies, as we've seen, the crackdown against Black Lives Matter and a lot of organizing. But we're seeing the same kind of hardcore anti-revolutionary, anti-communist ideology on the right, where you have hardcore Christian nationalists who are, openly saying everyone who doesn't agree with them is a commie. Joe Biden's a commie. You're a Democrat. You're a liberal. You're just a commie. And now you have right-wing legislatures passing laws of, and if you're scared of the commies in the street, you can plow into them with your car, right? So that this strain and the penchant for hoarding a large number of guns, I think there is something, Biden even mentioned in his address right-wing extremism, right? And I think that focusing on the fact that we, as a leftist, we should focus on the fact that we have a huge problem in this country of a radicalized right that really does see it, as justified to take up arms against the fellow citizenry, right? Whether they're just totally racist, like the El Paso Walmart shooter, who's even like a type of an eco-fascist, or you have like the Boogaloo Boys who want to stir up a second civil war, a second race war. You hear all the right-wing, goofballs talking about, the second civil war. Even weirdos like Tim Pool were talking about civil war, second civil war, second civil war, right? So it really is. I think it's not something we should ignore. I think we should just be aware that the American right, not only is the American like military industrial complex and policing and all, intelligence agencies, it's a panopticon where they're all aiming at us. They're all reading our, metadata and all this stuff and tracking people. We also have this right wing that the intelligence agencies and the FBI is barely even beginning to go, oh, I guess this is a problem. Like, this Fresno Police Department firing an officer who's a Proud Boy, just because he was caught at this violent event and people on the internet had to sleuth it out and find him and then, make it public. Let's see. Comments. Mandy Sadowski, this is why military can't count where their money goes. Yeah, exactly. Jay Coleman, the U.S. does conduct ethnic cleansing. Yeah, it does. J. Andrew World, Evo was couped under Trump. Yep, absolutely, in Bolivia. And they're now holding her accountable. We just saw Americans who are arrested in Venezuela. And they held the former president of Bolivia accountable, a woman, I can't remember her name. Evil Yoda, the U.S. did not send its best with Guaido. Yeah. Oh, man. Yes, Jay Coleman. The panopticon. It's weird because we're also, as citizens, engaging in a panopticon. We're all aiming cameras at each other. I remember when I live streamed the Trumpers and the counter demonstrators fighting last year before the election. A bunch of the Trump guys were aiming their phones at me like, who are you, fake news, right? So we really are in this panopticon where we're all just aiming cameras at each other. It's very, very interesting, very